This is a civil danger warning. All residents receiving this broadcast should be prepared to follow the coming news and instructions. Please stand by. The following message is being transmitted by order of the Governor of the State of Maine and the Maine Emergency Management Agency. A cloud of fallout from the nuclear detonation in Portland earlier is now moving westerly towards the towns of Limerick, Lymington, Newfield, and Waterboro, and should reach the New Hampshire border within the next 60-90 minutes. All citizens are advised to remain indoors and to lock all doors and windows, and to shut off all heating and ventilation systems. State Police and the National Guard have placed roadblocks up in a 20-mile radius of Portland. No one is allowed to enter past these roadblocks. This includes routes 114, 302, 95, 25, 25B, 9, 100, 88, 295, 77, and Route 1. You are listening to the Emergency Alert System. This is a civil danger warning. The civil authorities in your area have activated the Emergency Alert System to keep you informed of the latest news and information affecting your area. This is WRTK, and we will continue to serve the Kennebunk area. If you are not in this area, please tune to a station with the latest news for your area. The Emergency Alert System has been activated.
With the latest news on this bizarre situation happening this evening. We are at 2 hours since the detonation that happened in the Portland area rocked this nation. For the first time since we can remember, a nuclear weapon was detonated on U.S. soil, presumably to kill Americans, or as some believe, to prevent a larger scale disaster. What we heard before our sister station, WRFF, went off of the air was that there was a phenomenon going on in which large groups of individuals were attacking and slaughtering people at random throughout the Portland area and vicinity. The cause of these attacks is unknown at this time, and the reasons behind these attacks is also unknown. It is widely being rumored that this incident is in direct relation to the industrial fire at the CCS chemical plant earlier this evening. However, a spokesperson from the CCS chemical plant calls that rumor utterly preposterous. We are continuing to broadcast the rescue stations for the people in the Cumberland, Oxford, Sagadahoc, Androscoggin, and York counties through the Community Access Bulletin Board, and we will continue to update you on any vital messages that are received from your government. I'm certain that there will be more interruptions from the emergency alert system throughout the night, so stay tuned for those as well. We are getting a massive amount of information from viewers, eyewitnesses, civil authorities, and other citizens throughout Maine who have reported on the goings-on during this civil emergency. Hang on, I've just been handed this memo from my producer, which is a statement from the White House press secretary who is blaming several possible terrorist organizations for the explosion in Portland earlier this evening. Nothing has been substantiated as of yet. Again, we want to relay to the public that the rescue stations are the optimal choice for safety in this particular situation, and if you and your loved ones are able to get to a rescue station, please do so. We urge people to listen to this station and to not call police and or fire departments, as there has been a severe disruption in their services. Civil authorities have asked that all citizens not use the telephone at this time, as the civil authorities may be using the carriers for official use only. We are just now receiving reports that this phenomenon is impacting counties outside of the earlier mentioned ones. Reports are stating that it's the same MO for these people, that they attack in large groups in almost a trance-like state and are not responsive to commands of authority and have lost their ability to reason appropriately. As you have heard, civil and military forces have been mobilized throughout the state, but the violence caused by these people is so widespread that it's impossible for rescue services to respond efficiently. Citizens left to defend themselves are caught in a grip of panic. Many have witnessed the collapse of the local fire and police departments and have taken the law into their own hands. Civil and social services have been disrupted, as well as public transportation. Many communities are without telephones, many are without power, some are without gas and water. Scientists are focusing on the phenomenon from the sort of trance-like state that seems to typify the assailants. Clearly a behavioral disorder of some sort, but what could have caused so widespread and dramatic a condition as we are seeing is unknown. We have heard speculation on everything from the ozone layer and chemical weapons to voodoo mysticism and organisms from outer space. A biologist from Augusta has released a report stating that the bodies of the recently deceased are returning to life, driven by an unknown force that continues to allow the brain to function. Doctors at the Maine Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, however, reject that theory, calling it preposterous beyond belief. They feel that the only reasonable explanation is a germ or bacteria or virus that has a mind-altering effect on its victims. If you are just joining us, this is WRTK, and we will bring you the latest news and information on this phenomenon as it becomes available. So far, what we
interrupt the following broadcasting to bring you this civil emergency message. The following message is being transmitted by order of the Governor of the State of Maine, the Maine Emergency Management Agency, and the Maine Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Over the past several hours, the police and civil authorities have had little success with maintaining the wave of assailants that have been terrorizing multiple counties over the last 12 hours. Police and civil authorities have stated that their numbers are continuing to grow, and that they are not responding to verbal commands or orders. It is feared that the disturbance has gone beyond the 20-mile roadblock and is now spreading to other areas of the state. There have been reports of assailants as far away as Bethel, Carrabassett Valley, Jackman, Algash, and Winterville. All citizens receiving this broadcast must make their way to a local rescue station immediately. Local rescue stations are being provided on this channel. The Governor will be declaring a state of martial law in Maine within the hour. All citizens are urged to make their way to a rescue station and to not occupy private residences, no matter how secure or privately stocked. You are listening to the emergency alert system. All broadcast and cable systems shall transmit this message. This is WRTK, and we will continue to serve the Kennebunk area. If you are not in this area, please tune to a station covering news for your area. The emergency alert system has been activated. Please stand by for an administrative message. All broadcast and cable channels shall transmit this message. The following message is being transmitted by the Governor of the State of Maine. All citizens must now be aware that martial law has been declared in the state of Maine by order of the Governor. As the phenomena that began late last night has grown exponentially over the course of the last few hours, the Governor has called for a declaration of martial law in the state of Maine as of 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All air traffic has been suspended until further notice, and the Federal Aviation Administration and the local Port Authority has agreed to allow several of the largest airports to be used as rescue stations. It has also been learned that several of the rescue stations are now inoperative. We will bring you the latest updates as they become available. The Maine CDC believes that this disturbance is attributed to some sort of virus or germ, and will be looking into the matter more deeply in the next several hours. You are listening to the emergency alert system. All broadcast and cable systems shall transmit this message. We have interrupted regular broadcasting at the request of the Governor's office to bring you this administrative message. All citizens receiving this message are instructed to seek out a rescue station as there will be an imposition of martial law at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This message will be retransmitted in 1 minute.
On us over the course of the last hour. It has been very difficult to determine which rescue stations are inoperative and which ones are still in operation. We are going to go live to a small press conference involving the Maine Emergency Management Agency, our governor, and leaders of the National Guard. Let's listen.
We are still learning all of the intricacies of this situation, which has, over the course of the last 8 to 10 hours, spiraled out of control. We have also stated that citizens should make no attempts to reach friends or family. Do not attempt to reach any of the rescue stations identified in previous bulletins, as they may be inoperative or destroyed. Repeating, this is a bulletin number 313 from the Maine Office of Emergency Management in the year 2015. What we are dealing with is a phenomenon that has never happened in the course of human existence. All of our scientists, as well as leaders from the civil authorities in cooperation with federal officials, have confirmed the claim that the bodies of the dead are being reactivated by a force as of yet unknown that enables them to continue to function. These beings are weak and uncoordinated, but can inflict extreme damage on people and property, especially when encountered in large groups. These reactivated beings will attack warm-blooded animals of all species, including human beings, without provocation, and will devour the flesh of any prey. They are to be considered extremely dangerous. These beings can only be disposed of by either incapacitating the brain or severing the brain from the rest of the body. It has been confirmed that the acts of homicide and cannibalism reported shortly after the CCS chemical fire was perpetrated by these creatures. It has also been confirmed that these individuals that are bitten by these creatures develop a serious infection, fever, chills, vomiting, and eventually death and reactivation. Thank you.
We have just heard from the Maine Emergency Management Agency, who has just warned civilians not to leave their homes to reach family or to go to rescue stations, as they may be inoperative or destroyed. I guess then, ladies and gentlemen, on the news that the Maine Emergency Management Agency has confirmed that the bodies of the dead are returning to life, this is real. This is definitely
We have interrupted this broadcast to bring you this civil emergency message. Important news and instructions will follow. Please stand by. The following message is being transmitted at the request of the United States government. Members of the Maine Emergency Management Agency, and the Federal Emergency Management Agency have met this afternoon and evaluated the current situation happening in the state of Maine. It was the order of the Maine Emergency Management Agency to rescind the previous messages advising residents to make their way to rescue stations and to remain in their homes. At this time, all residents of the state of Maine receiving this broadcast are advised to remain in their homes and to not go outside of their homes for any reason. Please take all precautions to fortify your home if you choose to stay there, and to make sure that you have weapons available. The Maine CDC also states that these creatures can be stopped by incapacitating the brain, or severing the brain from the rest of the body. Patrols of specially equipped squads of the National Guard will be patrolling the streets and will be assisting with the management of the situation. We have recently received a few reports from New Hampshire and northern parts of Massachusetts, stating that they have been experiencing isolated incidents similar to the ones that are happening in Maine at this time, in the eastern and northern part of the state. We will keep you updated on this development as it becomes available. You are listening to the emergency alert system. This is a civil emergency message. State and civil authorities have authorized the transmission of this message to warn of an in-progress or imminent significant threat to public safety and/or property. This is the emergency alert system. Please do not use your telephone. Telephone lines must be kept open for official use only. The emergency alert system has been activated for your area.
Over the last several hours. Again, if you are just joining us, most of the stations in the state of Maine have been abandoned or destroyed, and we are getting very little information coming from there at this time. What information we do have pertains to the overrun of the state by these reactivated corpses that were spoken about earlier. This phenomena has been sweeping like wildfire through the northeastern United States, with new reports of living dead sightings coming from northern Rhode Island, several areas in Connecticut, New Jersey, and a new report from northeast New York. We also know that it has been some time since the National Guard has been deployed to the area, and the reports we have are that their presence is having little effect on the problem. The President and the Joint Chiefs of Staff are currently meeting with members of the Federal Emergency Management Agency to discuss what course of action to take next. Hopefully, they will be able to come up with a strong solution. The CDC has announced that it has not found any evidence that this phenomenon is caused by a germ or virus, and will continue to search.
We interrupt the following programming to bring you this emergency action notification message. This is a national emergency. The government of the United States has authorized the transmission of this message on all broadcast mediums to inform you of national emergencies. Important news and instructions will follow. The President of the United States, in collaboration with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, have declared a state of martial law in the states of Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. The National Guard will be conducting removal tactics on these creatures, and advised that all citizens remain indoors, and to lock all doors and windows. By order of the President, no one should attempt to get to another residence or a rescue station. By going outside, you put your life in danger. The National Guard and the United States military will be executing plans to control this situation in the most efficient manner that they can within the next 2 hours. Please stay tuned to this station for all news and updates. This is an emergency action notification message. This station has interrupted regular programming at the request of the White House to bring you the latest news and instructions. This is the emergency alert system. Do not use your telephone. Telephone lines should be kept open for official use only. This message will be retransmitted in 1 minute. This is an emergency action notification message. All broadcast and cable systems shall transmit this message. Important news and instructions will follow. The following message is being transmitted at the request of the White House and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. The United States government is asking that all citizens receiving this broadcast be aware that the military will be performing airstrikes in the major cities of the affected states listed earlier in previous bulletins within the next 10 minutes. Citizens in the cities of Bangor, Maine, Augusta, Maine, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Salem, New Hampshire, Concord, New Hampshire, Hartford, Connecticut, Providence, Rhode Island, Boston, Massachusetts, Springfield, Massachusetts, and Montpelier, Vermont will be impacted. Citizens in the mentioned cities will hear air raid sirens at the commencement of the air attack. Again, please do not leave your homes for any reason during that time, as you put your life at great risk. This situation will be re-evaluated at the end of the strikes, and the President will decide what course of action to take from there. You are listening to the emergency alert system. All broadcast and cable systems shall transmit this message. This station has interrupted its regular programming at the request of the White House to bring you the latest news and information. This is the emergency alert system. Do not use your telephone. Telephone lines should be kept open for official use only. This message will be retransmitted in 1 minute.
We welcome you back here at WRTK, and honestly, we are not sure how many of you are still out there to hear this broadcast, but if you are out there, please continue to follow along with the bulletins, and hopefully we will get through this. Since the last time that we were on the air, we have gotten a lot of updates from various sources, but this is the most interesting one that we have gotten thus far. Apparently, one of the separatist groups in the United States has responded to us in regards to the charges that were laid by the President and FEMA that this was the work of a terrorist organization. The communique reads, and I quote, "We know that there are many that want to deflect from the real situation at hand, but we cannot in all good conscience allow this to happen. We did this to ourselves and are paying for our sins now." The rest of the communique is a manifest list of chemicals that were warehoused and stored at the CCS chemical plant, and there is a star next to a chemical named trimethylhexafluoride, and there is a word bingo written next to it. Apparently, this group is claiming that this chemical stored at the CCS factory contaminated the clouds during the industrial fire, and when it rained earlier, this caused the contaminant to spread exponentially. The group is also claiming that there will be more incidents like this coming from other regions depending on if the contaminated clouds produce rain. Anyways, if you believe that that is what happened, then so be it. The bottom line is that we have a major situation that looks to be growing every hour. The Centers for Disease Control have stated that there are approximately 80 to 100,000 reanimated corpses, or we hate to use the word zombies, between the states of Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut at this time. All civil authorities are reminding citizens to remain indoors and to secure all residences. Be sure to shut off all heating and ventilation systems and lock all doors and windows. Remember, if you come into contact with one of these beings, they can only be stopped by incapacitating the brain or severing the brain from the rest of the body. They will attack on sight and are extremely dangerous in large numbers. I have just been handed another memo. This one coming from the Office of Emergency Management. It seems that there is some exercise that the military is planning on taking, hopefully within the next hour. And there is word that there will be an announcement of some sort about this shortly. Here is the latest on that situation. Apparently the military is going to be conducting an experiment of what it calls cloud seeding. They are going to be flying planes through clouds and infusing them with a chemical called bioxymethylhexafluorine, or BMHF. The statement is also asking all citizens to be on alert of when this is happening. The FEMA office asks that no one go outside when this is happening for any reason. Many in the scientific community believe that this will reverse the effects of the situation that is facing us, but we can only hope. Please stay tuned to this channel for all the latest on this. This is WRTK, and we're hopefully going to stay with you.
We interrupt all programming at the request of the White House to bring you this emergency action notification. This is a national emergency. Important news and instructions will follow shortly. The following message is being transmitted by order of the White House and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. The President and his advisors have assessed the situation mentioned in previous bulletins following the end of the earlier airstrikes, and has concluded that the airstrikes were not effective. We have learned that incidents involving reanimated bodies have sprung up in more areas across the United States, and there is one report coming in from Montreal, Quebec, that violent acts perpetrated by the dead are beginning to happen there as well. The United States government is planning to proceed with the plan of cloud seeding in the states of Maine, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. All citizens receiving this broadcast are being urged to remain indoors, and to not turn on heating or ventilation systems. This is an emergency action notification message. Federal and state authorities have authorized the transmission of this message to keep you informed of urgent situations and emergencies. The emergency alert system has been activated. The following message is being transmitted by order of the White House, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and the Department of Homeland Security. Approximately 30 minutes ago, several reports came in from Maine, New Hampshire, and eastern Massachusetts that the government's attempt at cloud seeding was unsuccessful at this point. Moments after the planes lifted into the air, they were shot down by anti-aircraft missiles by unknown assailants. State and federal officials are at a loss to explain why this happened, but believe that a terrorist organization with government ties is responsible. Please stand by for a message from an unknown sender. You are listening to the emergency alert system. All broadcast and cable systems shall transmit this message. This station has interrupted regular programming at the request of the White House to bring you that latest news and information. The emergency alert system has been activated.
A shocking turn of events, to say the least. We say again that approximately 20 minutes ago, we received word from the office of FEMA that the cloud seeding has recommenced and has proved very successful throughout the states of Maine, New Hampshire, and Massachusetts. The chemical that was used in the planes for the seeding has had a reverse effect on the reanimated bodies and has brought the situation under control in those areas. All persons receiving this message are urged to remain indoors and to not go outside until they receive an order from the civil authorities to do so. The President has issued a statement that there will be more seeding in other states across the nation, and that the U.S. will assist their neighbors north of the border with this as well. Officials are not saying where this chemical came from, but assure the public that they will make every effort to resolve this situation. Another fax has come in over the wire from an unknown source stating that the government was nice to get it right this time, as many who truly protect were watching. Their first attempt seeding the clouds was not to stop the phenomenon, but to accelerate it. The fire was the touch-off of the whole incident and is responsible for this devastation. Perhaps having a contract with the DoD had something to do with it. Maybe America has learned from this example. If the belief is there, then a lie of any size will do. We now return you to regular programming. This has been a bulletin from WRTK, and thank you for listening.